Wow, it's amazing to believe that it's almost been a decade since we started our journey with Kasolo, Uganda. In 2013, the idea of building a spiritual center in the heart of town was born, and in 2014 our first group of volunteers went over to dedicate that church and open it up and to pray over it, that village would then be healed and in God's name. In 2015, another group went over to dedicate a borehole and provide backpacks and supplies for the sponsored children. In 2016, our third group went over to dedicate another borehole and provide additional clothing to the sponsored children who lived in the village. In 2017, during a severe drought, we were able to provide food relief for that community. In 2018, we were able to dedicate a house for the pastor and nurse and a medical clinic on site that would serve that community, and it's done amazing things. In 2019, that medical clinic was funded and has provided immense care for that community. It's been a lifesaver for so many in that area. And in 2020, we were able to acquire land to take part in the next step of the next 10 years with this community.
So we adopted Musisi in 2015. He was 11 years old at the time. And just from the very beginning, God laid on my heart that it would be like a bucket list thing to meet him one day. And that actually came true just a year later in 2016. Brian and I decided to travel to Uganda with a team from Hope for Kids. Before we left, we adopted another boy named Kibu. He was only 4 years old at that time, but we actually got to meet both the boys, Musisi and Kibu, and their parents in 2016. Well, 2 years later, after corresponding with them, we got to go again to Uganda and meet them again. And I think the thing that really stands out to me about that visit is how much more confident they were, how healthy they looked, how happy they were. They actually remembered us and were excited to see us again and be with us, and just stuck to us like glue the whole day. They were just vibrant. So what we found in Uganda in general was profound poverty everywhere. Unemployment was rampant, lack of clean water, much disease. 50% of children under the age of 5 die from waterborne diseases. The availability to nutritious food was not there. There was no ability to develop any skills or trades in the small villages. That's what we found in Uganda as a whole in the villages. But through the generous support of donors, Kasolo we found to be a little bit different. They do have 4 fresh water wells, which has resulted in much less sickness and disease in their community. They now have a medical clinic, so they can immediately treat malaria, dysentery, and other conditions that they were unable to treat before and people died from. So overall, the community of Kasolo is much healthier and much better off just because of the generosity of donors. However, the remaining issue is a lack of quality education. Quality education breaks the cycle of poverty. In a village like Kasolo, where there is no access to quality education, they lack just basic things like learning English. Every village has a different language. English is the language of the country, And that's the only thing that's common. But if the kids don't ever learn English, the only language they know is in their village. So they don't learn English, they don't learn basic skills like reading, writing, and math. They don't learn any type of trade. Schools are typically outside in the elements or in a hut. The teachers themselves have no formal education. Sometimes they've never gone beyond their village. And there's no affiliation or accountability to any overseer. So no one's keeping track of what's happening in the schools. And nobody keeps track if the kids are coming. Often the girls don't go to school because they're busy with their mothers helping with chores, and they just don't show up, and nobody keeps an eye on that. Their standardized test scores generally never get above first to third grade levels, and that's even kids that are like 16, 17, 18 years old. So there's no hope to ever break that cycle of poverty. Whereas in a school that's managed by an organization like Hope for Kids International, English is taught. They do learn basic skills like reading, writing, and math. Their test scores are among the highest in the country, and often they score at grade level or above. They also learn trades, what it takes to actually be a farmer and excel at that, to be an entrepreneur. They learn things like marketing and budgeting and financing. School takes place in an actual building, so if it's pouring down rain, they can still go to school. Teachers are formally trained and accredited. They're hired by the overseer, and that person keeps tabs on them. There are standards and expectations for the teachers and for the students. It's amazing how children, given the chance, will thrive in a caring, supportive environment. Over time, giving the opportunity of quality education, this community of Kasolo could become self-sufficient and actually thrive.
Wow, we've done a lot in the last 10 years. Now it's time to lean into the vision for the next 10 years with Kasolo. We are right now ready to build a school on the land purchased this past year. The long-term, 10-year vision is to build a campus with several buildings for classrooms and admin, then begin to slowly fill those classrooms with sponsored kids and qualified teachers with the help of Hope for Kids in Uganda. Folks, everything we've been doing for Kasolo for the past decade has been leading up to this moment. The community has safe water to keep disease away. Kasolo has a spiritual center that gives them hope. They have a life-saving medical clinic to care for those who get sick. And now it's time to help them lift themselves out of poverty by providing a place and staff who can provide a solid education. It's our time now. It's our time to come alongside and help them to make this happen.